Should Dr. Dixon be ready? Oh, goodness. Live mic, everybody.
Yeah. Welcome to Anticipate. It's the next phase of the master planning process for Columbus City Schools. We're so excited you can be here and be a part of our day. We've got some workshops that we're going to participate in and some tours, and really have a hands-on approach to gaining community engagement. This is all about you. This is facilitated by co-chairs and participants of the community, and we need your voice. We need your input in the next 2 phases after anticipation, because we're going to dig into some really hard questions around Columbus City Schools, and we need your feedback. So welcome to Anticipate, and welcome President Adair.
Thanks, Robin. We are so excited that you are participating with us today. Just like Robin said, it's so important and it's critical that we have your voices in this process. We are building the future of Columbus City Schools, literally building the future. And we want spaces that are creative and adaptable so that our students can meet our vision of Portrait of a Graduate. This is an exciting time for us as a community, and I am so excited that you are going to participate, sharing your ideas, sharing what your vision is for our students in the future of our community. So let's get started, Robin.
All right, let's do it. So we'd also like to introduce Dr. Dixon, and Dr. Dixon has created a video around the Portrait of the Graduate, but I'd like her to introduce it. Come on over.
Thank you. So when we think about anticipate, what does that mean? Anticipate. We're looking forward to, we're excited about the future. Our hopes and dreams and aspirations for students in Columbus City Schools. So I'm excited. We want you to join us and be excited in this movement as well. We're anticipating great things for our students, anticipating facilities that's going to nurture their learning and allow students to do the impossible. I'm excited. Rigorous learning for all of our students and spaces that will promote that type of learning. Get ready, Columbus City Schools. New buildings are coming your way. It's the future of CCS. Video.
Thank you.
Portrait would be front and center. These are the 6 attributes that we are going to ensure that when our students graduate, that they are able to master. The first pillar is adaptability. To me, adaptability means how do our students interact in adverse environments. We are in a country now where there are so many different people from so many different places, the beauty of learning from one another and how we can solve those problems together. The next pillar is communication. How do we make sure that our students can express themselves? Our students have to be able to ask questions, ask for feedback, and really getting students to understand that your voice matters. The next pillar is creativity. Our students can come up with multiple ways of addressing our problems, and to learn and at their own pace, you have to create that space for creativity to happen. And it has to emerge, I believe, in that manner. The next pillar is critical thinking. It is important for my students to understand thinking about a problem in a very complex way starts to build those critical thinking skills, and it allows students to know that I don't have to have all the answers right now, but I can think about it and build upon what I believe the answer will be. The next pillar is global empathy. How do we get students to understand that what they may see happen to another student or even to their neighbor, how do we feel? How does that make us feel when we see injustice happening, when we see poverty happen? What does that feel like? And not just locally in Columbus, but around the world. all should be using technology as a lever to advance our students' opportunities. We as an organization, we are going to use technology to make sure that students have access to curriculum wherever they are. We want to be a district that when our students graduate, they can demonstrate those 6 attributes. That's what's important to us right now, to make sure that our students have an opportunity to lead. We have to be student first. And I think that's where the magic happens, is that we're doing it not just for our students, we're doing it with our students, and student voice matters.
Next portion of Anticipate, we'd like to welcome you to our gallery that really identifies how these attributes are supported in architecture. What are the spaces that adaptable students need to support their learning? What are the spaces for communication and global empathy, that critical thinking? What kind of spaces inspire that? Technology is so important. We've learned that, especially over the last 2 years. How do we create spaces that support that and that creativity, that spark that inspiration? We know that architecture can do that, and your environment lifts your spirits, and it can inspire learning. So what we've done is created a series of boards that support those 6 attributes that Dr. Dixon shared in the video. And we're so excited to share those images with you and some of the words that support that came out of the first 3 phases of the master plan. And here we are in phase 3 with Anticipate. And so what we're doing is student-led workshops where they choose images and then they comment about the images of what they want. So we want a science lab. We want to engage with others. We'd like flexible seating. We need a bigger school. We'd prefer bright colors and lighting, comfortable and quiet spaces. We need more windows, more light, less dark. We had a young lady even talk about their school that looks like a prison. Positive doesn't exist in this setting. I want to be happy when I come to school. I want to be inspired. Nature and greenery, open space for seating, and good places to study. So this is the feedback that the students voice, and this is student-led. Students are leading the way to world-class schools, and their voice needs to be heard and amplified by you, the community. We also have an exhibit over in this area, excuse me, where we put this together Monday night with our workshop, and parents really got to share their opinions. We had a parent who has a wheelchair-bound student, and accessibility is not happening in the current facility where she's housed. So accessibility throughout facilities and having opportunity to have access and equity throughout. So these are some of the other comments that came from the adults in the room. I like this space because it feels like it would be calming. A multifunctional room where different things can happen throughout the day in the school and can be used in a different way every period. Just set it up differently, right? And then have more bright spaces and more daylighting. And of course, technology is important in the future. We had a student choose this image and said, I think it represents kindness because people are helping each other and they're working together. So spaces can inspire that social emotional support as well. So now I'd like to invite the people in the room to make their own collage and choose some images that are out on the table. So if you'd like to join us and just stand up and come over to the table. All of you who would like to participate can grab a marker, choose some pictures that resonate with you, and then select what you think would be the future of learning in Columbus schools? What do we need? What do we need to support those students with these great 6 attributes? So go ahead and take some time to select your picture and take some time to make a note and tape it onto the board. And then we'll come back and get your feedback. Yeah, go for it. Make a collage. Hopefully the activity inspires your creativity. Maybe think about your ideal learning environment when you were growing up, or where you like to learn now. When you're reading a book, I'm guessing you're not sitting in a hard table and chair. You might be sitting in a lounging position or a more comfortable position. We know that all of us learn differently. There's research that supports multiple intelligences. There are 9 that they've discovered so far, and all of them are different, and we're made up of all of those strategies. It's just the ones that we practice that are our strongest. I don't know if I can name all 9, but naturalistic learner, logical learner, social learner, introverted learner, existential learner, the person that's always asking why. I think Misty is existential learner. I'm a naturalistic learner and a social learner. But all of us are our own cocktail of learning, different mix. And all of our students are also a different mix. So we need to have spaces that support all of them. And curiosity is contagious. So if we create a space where curiosity is sparked, others will join in. Yeah. That's one of the most popular images that is almost always selected for the collages. Mm-hmm. And these images will be available online for the public to access and to make comments on. In the same way that we're physically creating a collage, you'll be able to digitally create a collage and create comments. Nice work. So we have 2 more engagement sessions coming up, one tonight and one on Monday that you're welcome to join. And then the week of the 18th, we'll kick off the consider phase. And we're working hard on a a simulation, a tabletop simulation of how to create the best facilities to support the 6 attributes. And that'll be a very fun tabletop simulation process. So we'd like you to check out the website and sign up for your region and participate in that next phase. All right, so let's report out. Don't sit down, come back, and we'd like you to share your comments and just take us through why you selected the images and why they resonated with you. I'm going to hand the mic around.
Do you want me to point out?
Yeah, introduce yourself and then just point to the pictures and share why you selected them.
Okay.
Thank you.
My name is Lindsay Lohman, and I am a parent of students. I have 3 kids at Indianola Informal. I chose this picture here because it's a very large, open, almost auditorium-like space. And I just said children learn through play, and they need open spaces to learn and grow. And I think that some of the rooms are very small, and when they have all the desks and the tables, there's not as much room and space for them to like roam around. And I also chose this one because I'm going to share a little of why I came today, actually. So I am a mother of lead-poisoned children, and I happened to have a paint chip fall in my son's backpack a few years ago. It just randomly fell in my child's backpack in his cubby in his classroom, and having already been through a lead poisoning situation when they were young, I took immediate action, and Columbus City Schools handled it really well. And so I chose this image because it has drop ceilings, and I said lead-free learning environments because I know throughout this plan a lot of older buildings are going to be renovated. And when I was reading on the page, it said there were 66 schools that were built before 1977, which is when lead paint was banned. And so for me, that's a really big issue. And we have a lot of students to protect from all of that. And so also just wanting to voice that from early on in the planning phases, and also bringing to attention the swing spaces, because I know there's not CGA anymore, and also the new Dominion building are no longer swing spaces. So also maybe having an idea in the budget of like, do we need to build a swing space to have students in order to keep them safe during renovations? And any lead paint areas that are non-friction or high impact that are encapsulated with a 50-year encapsulate, and anything that is touchable or friction surface that is removed and replaced. So that is why I am here today.
Thank you for coming. We appreciate your comments.
Absolutely.
It's very important to hear those. Who would like to go next?
Hello, my name is Kelly Arnold. I am the zoning chair of the Far West Side Area Commission. We have both Columbus City Schools in our boundaries and predominantly Hilliard Schools, where I also serve on the Hilliard Schools Facilities Task Force. So I'm very interested in what other schools are doing so that we can all learn and grow from each other. And I selected the outdoor green spaces are vital for health and to connect the global environment. We've seen in this pandemic, being able to access the outdoors and having those spaces is key. And I think it just fills kids with a sense of wonder to see their outdoor environments. I also chose this one, the flexible furniture and spaces to support a variety of tasks, and learning is essential for growth because we know we have different types of learners, and we want to be able to accommodate all those different types of learners in how we, the furniture there shows chairs on wheels, tables on wheels. You could reconfigure for whatever the task at hand is. So those are great things to see in our buildings so that we can adapt to the type of learning that we want to see for the future. So.
Thank you for being here.
Hi, my name is Rashida Hassan. I have a student at Northland High School, and she also participates. She's the ambassador for Northland.
Excellent.
For the FMP.
Hafsa?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes. So, I've been a parent of Columbus City School for a while. Like, my oldest son is 24 years old now. So, and then Hafsa is the youngest. And I've seen quite a bit over the years, but this year was more pressing to me, even though I don't have an elementary or middle school students. Northland is a great school. The staff is amazing, but the setting is very too small. So always space is very important to me, not only for my child, but for the entire community. So I've chosen outdoor setting. It's like, it's inspire creativity. When I see students outside, they're more free at not only communicating with each other, but playing and being creative. And this setting looks like people are outside, even though they're inside. So it's a win-win situation for them. And then this one is like the students like to have their own space, but they don't like to be alone. So that also promotes being together while everybody has their own space. So that's why I chose those two settings. Thank you.
And thank you so much for being here. Sure. Hafsa has been a delight and so supportive of this process, and I think is inspired to become an architect. So we're thrilled that she's inspired by this process. So thank you. Thank you for joining us today. Would anyone else like to share? President Adair, did you choose a picture?
So the truth is I loved all the pictures so much. I think the one, I put mine all over the place. This one here, I picked, this is the first one I chose, and it's a setting of kind of a multi-purpose room in maybe an elementary school that has really open space with windows facing a courtyard. So they've incorporated that element of nature kind of at the center of the school, and that could be fabulous outdoor space. But what I just loved about it is light, sunshine, nature, and really all that can inspire creativity, and it's in an adaptable space. A couple other ones I picked. This one here I liked because it showed the use of technology in ways that people can work together and independently. I also like the incorporation of art, spaces where art can be shown and really displayed, right? And then different types of ways that students could, I called them cozy study areas, but also kind of spaces for independent learning as well, similar to what she was just saying, those kind of spaces that allow students to kind of learn in their natural state, where they find it most comfortable. But I really loved all the pictures. I love the outdoor spaces, and just all of these show just amazing ability for our students, to be able to be really creative and adaptable, and really, be inspired. I mean, I want to come back to school, right? I want to come back to school and learn. Dr. Dixon?
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. So can we have it all?
Yeah.
Right? Yes. You deserve it all.
Yes.
The students deserve it all.
I was most inspired by the one, we have two students that are kind of sitting and helping one another. I know that we have a lot of students that are shy and introvert, and when they help each other, they're currently sitting at desks. You have to pull them over, and it seems like it's kind of purposeful. I'm going to help the shy kid, but these type of spaces just kind of create. You don't know what they're doing, right? Mm-hmm. You know that they're learning and they're helping one another, but it's comfortable for them. And so I love that flexibility and that purposeful space, and it fits them. Mm-hmm. It's not an oversized desk. It's something that is adaptable to their body size and grade level. And then this one was the lighting. We talked about the flexible space. I think lighting to me just does something. When you think about having plants and various lights and how plants just grow and expand, think about our students and what optimum lighting would do for them. Even though it seems like students like being in classrooms with the lights off, and I'm thinking, how can y'all learn in that space? But I think the lighting is so important, and having the flexibility, but we don't have to have one big room. You can have one big room, you can divide it up. And to me, you maximize that space in the schools, and you're able to use that space after school for families and community events. So that flexible space, I think, is so important. And I share what everyone else stated too. The lighting, outdoor space, we've learned so much from the pandemic. And now how do we maximize that and use that space, create that space for our schools, but also the community space? And how we partner with our community entities and say, you know what, this can be a shared space, not for just us, but for the community. We can come after school, we can come on the weekends and share this space with our community. And I think we have to get to more of that. It's not just the school district's buildings, it's the community buildings. So how do we create that space where everyone has a part and feel a part of making that space great for all of our community members?
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. Scott, did you have something you wanted to share?
Thank you. Scott Wortman, Chief of Communications Engagement for Columbus City Schools. So one photo really spoke to me, and it had one with a lot of natural light. So as we talk about outdoor learning, there are times that you can't be outdoors. So if you're all day, every day in a school, how can you bring the outdoor light in? I really like natural light because I just think it makes everything better indoors. So that one's the one that really spoke to me among all these, is just bringing that natural light inside the school building.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else want to share? I just so appreciate you guys just revealing, being vulnerable and sharing what is on your mind about facilities. And so to the general public, let's hope that you either come to some of the engagements, but also if you'd like to look through the photos digitally, we'll send you a link online. And then we'd love to hear your comments about what you'd like to see for the future of Columbus City Schools. So now we're going to move into the next phase of our workshop. And we're going to show you 3 videos that describe the tours that we've been on. We've been visiting facilities that have not been touched, and then facilities that are newer, and comparing and contrasting. And we have a survey that the engagement process has been taking the survey, all the community members that attend, as well as students, and they've been analyzing using those 6 attributes. So they take those 6 attributes and see where there is evidence in the facility, and if there's not evidence, they explain why. So we're going to do that exercise next, but first we're going to watch a couple of videos, and then we're going to have an opportunity to walk through today the library and analyze it with the survey. Community-led, you are the leaders, we are the facilitators, so thank you so much for being here.
Well, this is the engagement phase where we're taking student leads and regional chairs along with our master planners to a state-of-the-art educational facility so that we could tour the current designs and use those to ideate and inspire us to incorporate those into our master plan. Education has changed. We realize that design and construction, we have to incorporate light into spaces, and spaces must have multi-use. So as the students come in, they don't just sit in the classroom, they're able to go into multiple spaces and have different learning environments and have different teams that they can learn with.
When you come into these spaces, there's just life here constantly. I mean, there's kids sitting everywhere, groups meeting everywhere. It's about really maximizing the interaction amongst the students.
One of the great ideas was doing a TikTok so we could have a little bit of fun, act like kids, but also talk about the areas of the building that inspired us.
We know that this kind of facility belongs in Columbus City Schools. We deserve this.
Columbus City Schools continues its community conversation about its facilities master plan, bringing together students, teachers, parents, and administrators, and residents from all regions to discuss the future of the district and its community schools.
That's important to me because I'm a Columbus Public School graduate. My children are Columbus Public School, will be Columbus Public School graduates, as well as other family members. So I'm looking at it, it's a product. I'm a product of the same environment, and I want the product that I'm from to have the same results.
Jawan Zamore, along with other community members from Region 2, toured Liberty Elementary School and Independence High School. Phase 4 brings the community together to tour 2 CCS school facilities on the same campus, one recently constructed and another older construction, prompting conversation on what is working in our school buildings and what needs to change.
I look at it from a two-sided perspective. A school like this has a lot of rich tradition, from Kenny Gregory to Roger Harper to George Reese, Jessica Davenport. So you have some great stories that come out of schools like Independence, but often those schools that become dilapidated, you stop to hear about a lot of those positive stories, and you start looking at a lot of the negative stories that start coming from the school.
Moore is one of several parents, community members, along with students who have been participating in multiple facilities master plan conversations. This past spring, the district completed the first 3 phases of the process. Phase 1, gather, Phase 2, envision, and Phase 3, define. The remaining 3 phases, which will go through mid-December, Phase 4, anticipate, Phase 5, consider, and Phase 6, transform.
Like, I know what it feels like to go to these schools, and it's like, it doesn't look the best, and I have little siblings, and I think of like how they would feel going to these schools, and I want them to be able to get the most out of their education when they do go.
Madison Hughes is a senior at Independence High School. She says it's important that students are a part of these conversations so they can be a voice for younger CCS scholars that will one day walk the same halls and sit in the same high school classes as she and many others before her have.
Plain and simple, issue. The same school district that you came from, these are the same kids that's inside that same district. So it's not really a heavy pitch. It's just more so of getting the people who are involved who really want to make a change.
Columbus City Schools is hosting multiple F&P conversations for the next 3 months and would like to have your input during this important process. For more information, visit www.ccsoh.us and click on the Facilities Master Plan link.
All right, so welcome. I'm Mr. Frazier, assistant principal here at Sherwood Middle School. Listen, as you come into our main entrance here, you walk into our foyer. This is, in my opinion, one of the good things about Sherwood Middle School is this foyer, somewhat gathering area. I think it's a nice, welcoming area. This is our gymnasium. As you can see, our bleachers are a little bit outdated. Our screen is a little bit outdated, and especially the locker rooms. The locker rooms in here are extremely outdated, but this is a necessity in our middle school. Also, you can see this is our audio, our speaker system for here. So if that's a thing that we could have upgraded, you know, that's a necessity in our middle school as well. Our auditorium is, I would say, is it's a nice usable space. Even though it's an older space, we can hold all of our students in here. Our chairs aren't broken. The curtains, the lightings, the audio system in here, as we're moving into the 21st century, you know, is having a good visual, being able to put PowerPoints and movies, or projecting things in this space. We do a great job of using what we have. but as you can see, this space it is not equipped for what, where we're going. If this is our library, we use this as a testing center, but you can still hear the AC going in this space. This next room is our technology or computer labs. And as you can see here, again, these are rooms that we made do. For the amount of students in here, they're on top of each other. Another challenge with this room, I don't know if you can tell, but this is 2 classrooms, and all it's divided by is this divider here. These are older computers, and again, if I'm really trying to teach students technology, is only desktops, computers moving forward going to be used to technology, and just a regular smart board. If we want to be real innovative, it's just these desktops, are these going to do it? One thing I want to highlight, our instrumental music teacher has tried to, the soundproofing of the room is horrible. Back here, so where we kept our instruments, back here, a tight space to keep our instruments. And if you look at some of our instruments, that's one thing that I wish we had better. Our instruments are a little old and beat up, but a lot of this is not student use, but it's because of our buildings. Here we have our 8th grade science room. And again, as you can tell, a very tight room. So you can look in here, even the students' tables are very old. Again, make do with what we have. Spaces that are unusable along the wall. Also, I don't know if you guys noticed, in our building, all of the old, outdated PA systems.
Welcome to Shady Lane Elementary. I am Principal Cheryl Hernandez, and let me show you around the lane. As you enter our beautiful facility here, you will notice that it is wide open with lots of natural lighting around. It is welcoming, colorful, and engages the children in their environment around and welcomes them to school. As you enter the building, the first room that you will see is our school library. School libraries are not something that every school has, and so we are very blessed with our layout here. Our librarian implemented different things within the room, such as our Lego wall, which she received from a grant, but this is a open, welcoming space that gets books in our students' hands. We're very fortunate to have it. As our students enter the school every day, they are welcomed into the cafeteria to get their breakfast. We are very fortunate that we have this big open space in which students can help themselves to breakfast. In addition to our cafeteria tables, we do have a beautiful stage where our music program performs and practices daily to provide us programs throughout the year. As I just mentioned, we are very fortunate here at Shady Lane that our cafeteria and gymnasium are not in the same space. We have this beautiful gym in which our students really are exposed to different athletic experiences, such as basketball, hockey, soccer. We are able to provide all of those experiences for our students here because we have the proper equipment and storage and space to do it in. As you walk down the hallways here at Shady Lane, you will notice that our students are able to be welcomed into their classrooms by bright colors on the floor, on the walls. Each teacher has their own bulletin board in which they can display motivational messages, student work. So we are really proud of this environment because it truly invites our students into a warm environment in which it is fun and engaging to learn. Welcome to a classroom here at Shady Lane. In these newer builds, you will notice that the rooms are very spacious. This allows for our students to get movement in during their day. It allows for whole group, small group, individual instruction. For example, all of our classrooms have the built-in cubbies and cabinets that allow for student and teacher storage of materials. Here we're in a kindergarten classroom, so you will notice as well they have a sink where the students can wash their hands as needed, and they actually have their own bathroom, which allows for them to use that throughout the day without losing as much instructional time walking down the hallway. One other really unique space here at Shady Lane that we are so fortunate to have is we have multiple tutor rooms throughout the building. These rooms are stationed between classrooms in different wings of the building. This allows for different staff to pull out small groups of students and work with them either one-on-one or in a very small group to really focus on those achievement gaps that we are trying to fill. Finally, on our tour, I want to feature our playground. We are blessed with this huge, enormous space in which our students are able to run and play and engage in all kinds of activities during PE class, recess, and even learning outside. You can notice that our kindergarten has their own separate equipment that is separated from the other students for student safety. In conclusion, I want to thank you for joining us here at Shady Lane Elementary, where I was able to show off our beautiful facility that really engages our students and staff as they come in every day, welcomed by the big open spaces, the natural lighting, the bright colors that just add to our learning to make it fun and engaging, while also providing us spaces to really cater to the needs of our students and address the learning that needs to happen. Thank you.
I just want to thank Scott and his team for putting those videos together. They're just really outstanding and a great way to communicate with our community. So the next phase of our workshop is now to scan the survey, and we have paper surveys as well as digital surveys that we can talk about where do you see evidence of the 6 attributes of the portrait of the graduate in this facility or facilities of the schools. And you've seen the video now. That's what we've done. We've seen the old facilities, we've seen new facilities, and we've compared and contrast how they support the pillars. And now we'd like to take a walk through the library and actually evaluate where you see evidence of the 6 attributes here. So we'll take some time to tour this facility and walk through, and then we'll come back and report out, much like what we did with the workshop. So we're excited to hear from you what your opinions are in terms of the facilities and how they're supporting the students' needs. Okay. So this